So this is my response to this visual image. The poem is called Energies. Color exists, sound exists, and love exists on two electromagnetic spectra. One is physical, a mere sliver of which can be felt, heard, or seen. The other is spiritual, all-knowing, all-seeing, but stum to those who say they hear, and hidden from those who say they see. I took a walk in a woodland trail, trying to stay in the moment, but I couldn't. I simply couldn't. Thinking about those ancient stones transported me back to their origin, forward to their destruction, and inward to their essence, to our oneness. We are both stardust, ending and changing, mere slivers of light which merely hints at our manifold energies. You see, every entity sings its own song. Some sing colors, some sing sounds, but for those stones and me, well, we sing love.
Well, big story here, a long story here, but I'll do it in 30 seconds. I've painted with watercolor for a number of years, and if you've seen my paintings before, they've only been watercolor. Last summer, I decided to do abstract acrylics for the summer. I found 4 classes, took them, and made about 60 paintings over the summer. This isn't one of them, but it kind of. One thing I learned quickly is when you're working on an acrylic painting, you have a palette that's got a bunch of paint on it. And when you're done working on the painting, that paint is going to waste. So I had a sketchbook, and I just took that leftover paint and made things. And this is one of those. And it never particularly had a name. I knew for this I was going to have to name it, so I finally named it Impression of Niagara Falls. So you can see all the blue water running down and things, but I like the poem better, I think, so. Thank you.
Okay, so now I sent Dennis a bunch of poems, and he chose this one. This is the longest one in the show, so please blame Dennis. But it's called Breaches, and it has a prologue which many of you will recognize. That this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask their fathers in the time that comes, saying, "What mean ye by these stones?" then ye shall answer them, that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. And the poem is called Breaches. The topmost stone did not fall only suddenly, but reluctantly at various functions of time, wind, freeze, thaw, moss, and animal. He took the time to build this wall, this farmer, in between some desperate runs at agriculture, beating his will over our New England fields, yet defining them with this curious placement of one stone upon another. In time, these lines became his lines. These lines became our lines, our boundaries, real or imagined, but without care, they would surely breach. While the stones underground worked their way up through the soil, the stones on the wall worked their way down to the ground. When we stopped cultivating the good fields, we stopped considering their worth, their interpretations, their necessary weight and rightful place in the pile of stones. Without tilling the good earth, its good stones remain, and its good walls breach. I killed a squirrel with such a stone, a mighty toss from a place centuries unplowed. I breached life by cruel misuse. The farmer breached life by giving up. We all breach life by giving in, like the walls which bowed over the frost. The center of gravity drifting by microns to a tipping point beyond our vision, where people perish. True, these stones were occasionally placed amiss, perhaps in the farmer's hurried fatigue or even misjudgment. But where were the farmer's sons that December after the harvest and before the deep frost? What activity or inactivity did they choose to place before their mending wall? When did they decide that the carrying of stones, the inspecting of walls, the plumbing of the sides, and the straightening of the caps were no longer worthy of the attention on a modern farm? Their father handed over a completed work, his body spent both by using and defining the fields, dragging huge stones to build a wall of opportunity. If they had just repaired that one breach, you remember, the one they made to placate the loggers, or if they had just replaced that one keystone in the face by the corner, or added to the wall's width, investing in generations, then I'd not have breached life. But gravity prevails, and blood will not be unshed. In the middle of this thick woods, a rubble wall shoots across an impossible hill. A decoration now, shorter by sinking, by the increase of soil around it, by the accumulating slopes of its breaches that spill mossy rocks over the leaf litter, like impatience spilling out of those phony whiskey barrels at the corner of driveways. The day shall come when there shall not be one stone left upon another, the time beyond the mending, when we all seek another city.
I'd love to hear you read that. It's all different. Anyway, so here's my response, and you'll see the stone wall. It's early in its life, so it's in relative shape. The wood's off to the back, and a cairn, is that the right word? Pile of stones here, like hikers make. Cairn, yeah. And when I read that and heard about the breach, how I interpreted that was a levitating rock. So if you look casually at this, you won't see the levitating rock, but it's right there. So anyway, it was very good. I really enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Good working with you. Thank you.